So while Cardi B is currently catching some heat after Am I the Drama became the fastest hip-hop album to be RIAA certified platinum in the United States, surpassing Drake's Scorpion due to the fact that it included pre-release singles like WAP, Up and Outside, and WAP being over 5 years old. And well, while Cardi B's story is front page in hip-hop, on the back pages, another hip-hop artist has been catching some heat. And this is linked to stories that we covered extensively in real time months ago when Jamar was out of his depth debating Professor Dave on YouTube that was set up by comedian Godfrey. And Jamar's performance during the debate was so bad and cringy, he tried everything besides a carefully thought out argument. I mean, threats of violence.
Wait, I want you all to talk.
First of all, this guy came out real disrespectful, talk about the stupidest. Like if he was in this room, I'd be smacking the out of him right now.
Tantrums.
But it has gravity in the equation.
It has
Buoyancy
gravity.
only exists when gravity exists.
When gravity, the
So,
secret sauce.
here's the problem with your
gravity.
density.
And even went as far as accuse Godfrey's people of drugging him.
I definitely was not myself that night. And I thought certain people were my friend. And you don't want to believe that your friends would do certain things, but yeah, it's definitely possible. That's what happened.
He believes his own. So I just wanted to get that out and talk about that.
He just seems like he's embarrassed.
And now we got Professor Dave out here with another round of cooking Jamar after Jamar went on Vlad TV to explain his side of the story of the beatdown he received during that debate. And Vlad brought up the meme that swept the internet after Jamar got destroyed. The joke about how Jamar is a guest in the House of Science.
The internet's a funny place. Now, one of the terms that you coined, white people are a guest in the house of hip hop, right? You said it's about Eminem to the point where Eminem had to respond, right?
Mm-hmm. The idea that you would try to assert yourself over Eminem is like, I'm not even a rap fan or anything, but Eminem is one of the most famous. It's absolutely the ego on this guy is off the charts.
People asked if you're a guest in the house of science.
If I may be a guest in the house of scientism, because scientism is a religion that people practice. See, there's science, there's real science, something that's observable and repeatable.
You mean like physics and astronomy and chemistry and biology and all the shit that you never learned because you dropped out in the 9th grade and you're an uneducated moron? Nobody would say you're a guest in the house of science. That's like what you said about Eminem is racist as shit. You're a guest in the house of hip-hop. You can't be in hip-hop because you're white. That's racist. If anyone was to say you're a guest in the house of science, that would be racist as well, because black people can do science, and they do science. There are many, many, many black scientists, and you are totally free to learn science whenever you want, buddy. But you don't do that. You just throw little tantrums like this, where you refer to the entire body of scientific knowledge as scientism because reasons. In actuality, scientism is not a thing. That's just what butthurt science illiterate morons say when presented with actual real science that demolishes their entire fragile worldview, which is what you have here, right? You had an opportunity after I humiliated you to reflect, to do some soul searching and say, you know what? Everyone in the entire world is making fun of me right now, or at least everyone who watched that and knows him. Maybe it's time to get a little bit of critical thinking going here, acknowledge that I fell for the dumbest hoax in the history of humanity, revise my stance a little bit. Like you could have come out of this thing looking really good if you said, you know what? Like that guy was a little bit of a jerk, but I kind of needed it. I'm going to try better now. I'm going to try to educate myself. You would have saved a lot of face.
Come on, man.
And before we get to more from Dave, dunking on Jamar, even users on Reddit are going off about how Jamar tried everything to excuse his poor performance during that debate. I'm amazed people still listen to him accusing the original host of drugging him to explain why he was so stupid in that interview was insane. And who would have thunk it that we would get a crossover beef between Jamar and Professor Dave that looks to be more intense and arguably even more humiliating for Jamar than his squabble with Eminem. I mean, so embarrassing that he had to accuse his own associates of drugging him. Crazy. I respect people who have genuine issues with Eminem's place in hip-hop, and the way he codes his race in his writing has affected hip-hop's audience and the lyrical content of the genre. Even if I don't agree with the Afro-pessimist view of Eminem, I can respect it as a perspective. But I will never respect El Jamar. He sucks. He's an idiot. His politics are flat dog crap, and he was blessed with just enough musical talent to sponge off the legit genius Grand Pula and then led himself into the podcast circuit, whining about how rappers wearing skinny jeans is a conspiracy to turn black men gay. I am glad I hate him so much because I can blame him completely for that homophobic A Tribe Called Quest song.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
And many old school rappers have sadly lost all their aura in the internet age, and even the few people who still had some respect for El Jamar have most likely lost all respect after that debate went down and he was literally acting like a toddler at the big age of 57. And to be honest, it was a tough watch as a hip-hop fan to see El Jamar get dunked on by a YouTuber, but hey, he brought it on himself, and the guest in the House of Science joke is ready getting some remixes. El Jamar is not a guest in the House of Science. He's a trespasser in the House of Common Sense. He doesn't belong there.
Damn.
And boy, it got worse. El Jamar might know nothing, but if you heard him speak about politics, the arts, math, and history, you'd see that he doesn't know about any of that either.
Shit, I mean, damn.
And the Professor Dave roasting session of El Jamar got worse.
Like, this whole scientism thing, I mean, go ahead, spin your wheels, let's see.
And can be done over and over again and get the same results. Then there's scientism, where certain things are told to you and you just have to take their word for it.
No, that's not how science education works. That's how you think science education works because you're uneducated and you're lying to yourself to feel better about being too stupid and lazy to get an education. Education in the sciences, it's not just some guy at the front of the room dictating out of a book and saying, these are facts. You must memorize these. That's religion, right? That's dogmatic religious scripture. When you learn science, you do science. You can see for yourself that they work. You don't know any of this because you dropped out of ninth grade, moron, okay? So stop whining about, oh, you just believe what you're told. That's what you do. You are the one in a cult. If you get an education, you can get out of that cult because you can gain actual real knowledge.
Let me just say this, and this is not what Godfrey did on his show. Would you be willing to sit down and have a actual professional, cool discussion with a scientist?
Why not do it with you?
Because I want to.
So we're doing it right now.
Because he's not equipped to show you how dumb you are. I am, and you flipped out, had a meltdown, and demanded that I get booted off the show because you're a fragile little toddler that can't handle reality. Obviously, you don't want to talk to anybody that knows what they're talking about or that will push back on your brainwashing in any way, shape, or form, right? We have that demonstrated. I was there, and you ran away like a little toddler. You said dumb shit, and I humiliated you. That's what happened.
It was all about seeing if I knew certain technical terms that he already studied ahead of time. And that guy is not a professor, first of all, and he'll let you know he's not a real professor. He's just somebody who talks to so-called scientists and then regurgitates it back to other.
Wow. So I used to teach organic chemistry at a university, and then I became a science communicator. And part of being a science communicator, usually, is talking to scientists and conveying their work to the general public. So that's my job as a science communicator. They're not so-called scientists, they're scientists because they do science. I'm a very good science communicator, but I don't have deep expertise in all of these various fields that I discuss. I'm a generalist. Now, a generalist like me is very well equipped to debunk flat earth because it's the dumbest shit in the entire world. And you're flipping out about technical terms like weight. You didn't know what weight meant. You didn't know what a day is. You couldn't tell me what a day is. This is just, my God, the level of butthurt cope here is just off the chart. It's higher than anything I've ever seen. This guy hates me so much. It's bananas.
And that was Rich, coming from El Jamar. And as you heard, he said Professor Dave isn't even a real professor, which is ironic coming from someone who calls himself Lord Jamar. And this was low-hanging fruit. He's not even a professor, says a man who goes by Lord Jamar. He's not even a lord, not even a landlord.
Oh,
And he's worried about Dave not being a real professor. And I don't know if Vlad was trolling El Jamar with this one, but check it out.
Oh, what if I bring an actual professor in? What if I bring in a black,
it's not
science, a professor of science of some sort?
then I might
and
bring
it will not be
my black guy with me too. But
okay,
like black people study different science, right? We won't get the white guy in here. We'll get the black guy, and the black guy will give you the black science, right? The black physics. Will you believe him then? What race you are doesn't affect the laws of physics. So whoever you are, just learn about it. Just get an education.
And boy, the roasting session was tough to watch, nearly an hour long. And like I said, the aura of many old school rappers have been completely dispelled by the internet. Like, what hip-hop fan would love to see an old school rapper get humiliated like this? No hip-hop fan wants to see this happen, but Jamar just couldn't help himself. He went out of his depth, got destroyed, and refuses to take accountability for anything. And according to Professor Dave's description of Jamar has pretty much become his Benzino. Check it out. Earlier this year, I humiliated a rapping flat earther named Jamar live on a podcast. Since then, he's been completely obsessed with me, refusing to admit that he's a complete buffoon.
come on, man. Nah, man. Ooh.
Who fell for the dumbest hoax in human history, but instead doubling down on everything and venting about what a stupid shill I am to whomever will listen. So let's react to him doing that. And since Professor Dave could come across as someone who takes pleasure in destroying people who aren't as educated, he expanded on his issues with people like Jamar.
You're the one pretending that all of science is wrong. That's why it's hilarious when you're an idiot who can't even define basic terminology you were supposed to learn in 6th grade, okay? That's the difference. It's okay to not know things. It's not okay to assert your profound ignorance over the totality of human knowledge. That's what you do. He's not doing that.
Do you know the definition of, some that's inside your camera? Like, this is where they try to trip you up on. And that's the shit that they tried to hit me with when I was on Godfrey's show. We never had a debate.
Who's they? You can't even bring, it's you, James Tour, all of these people that I humiliate. You can't even bring yourself to say my name. You're referring to me as they. James Tour calls me that YouTuber. Like, I haunt your dreams so thoroughly. You just want to forget my very existence. Yeah, we did debate. You said a bunch of dumb shit, and I proved how all of it is dumb and wrong. I mean, I guess it wasn't a formal debate in the sense of like opening statements and things like that, but whatever you want to call it, man, you said dumb shit and I humiliated you.
What's the next question? Damn, you smacked out that one.
No more questions. Just a lot of people giving their condolences for the death of Lord Jamar.
Whoa!
And now we got hip-hop fans who have been let down by Jamar out here explaining to casuals. I'm from New York City, grew up and still participate in hip-hop culture. I'm also a PhD candidate and a healthcare professional with a master's in health science. I'm not particularly surprised, but I am somewhat saddened to see a golden age hip-hop artist out here talking this crazy in 2025. Jamar was a C-tier rapper at best, but the poor guy has turned out to be an S-tier moron. And like I said, the beatdown was sad to watch as a hip-hop fan. You don't want to see old heads get destroyed like this, but he brought it on himself. And I'll be looking forward to your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.